What happens when a family built on faith, love, and unity shatters right before our eyes, only to rise again with a brand new chapter? For more than a decade, fans of Sister Wives have followed the Browns through laughter, heartbreak, and scandal. We've seen marriages tested, bonds broken, and dreams torn apart. And just when it seemed like the story had reached its heartbreaking finale, TLC has shocked us all with the announcement. Season 20 is officially happening. Yes, the Browns are returning. But this time around, the tale is quite different. When Sister Wives originally aired back in 2010, viewers were enthralled. Kody Brown, a man with 4 wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, was ready to take a risk and share with the world his unusual way of life. It was a shock to some. For others, it was inspiring. But for all, it was unforgettable. For years, the Browns lived as a solid, if not flawless, family. They fought court battles, budget crises, and the sheer fact of sustaining a plural marriage. Through everything, they maintained that love kept them sticking together. But cracks started to appear. Resentment set in. And one by one, the pillars of their family began to collapse. Season 19 was explosive. Christine, after years of heartache and feeling like a basement wife, finally left. Her bravery to begin again inspired fans across the globe. We witnessed her discover herself all over again, fall in love once more, and create a life full of laughter and freedom. Janelle also could no longer withstand the incessant arguments and failed promises. Opting for peace rather than chaos, she set about forging her own destiny, one of peace, stability, and happiness for her children. Meri, the first wife, surprised fans when she finally cut her long and agonizing relationship with Kody loose. Following years of grasping at hope, she confessed her marriage had been spiritually dead for years. That left Kody and Robyn, the last couple standing. But instead of triumph, what greeted them was emptiness. The big plural family they once fought so desperately to preserve was no longer. And viewers were left wondering, was this really the end of the Sister Wives saga? Enter TLC's shocking news. Sister Wives is back for season 20. This news isn't about another season. It's about closing chapter books and opening new ones. It's about seeing the Browns redefine who they are, both individuals and a broken family. Producers say season 20 has raw emotions, explosive confrontations, and glimmers of hope that have the potential to turn everything around. And if you think you've seen it all, trust us, you haven't. So what can fans expect? Kody and Robyn's reality. Now that the other wives are gone, everyone's attention is focused on the couple who struggled the most to keep their place. But is their relationship as strong as it seems? Or will the stress of being the last ones finally get to them? Christine's happy new life. Christine's new beginning will only get brighter. Her marriage, her professional transitions, and her life as a mother and grandmother will reveal a side of her viewers love, brash, free, and unapologetically joyful. Janelle's new chapter, independent, single, and fierce. Janelle's life will follow how she navigates single life, motherhood, and being independent. Meri's makeover. Having left her marriage behind, Meri is entering a completely new persona. Do we get to see a softer, more liberated Meri, or a fiercer woman who won't let go? The Brown children will also be in the limelight in season 20 of The Children's Voices. For years, they have silently endured the aftermath of their parents' decisions. Now, their voices will be louder, their insights keener, and their narratives more poignant than before. At its core, Sister Wives has never been about polygamy alone. It is about love, sacrifice, faith, and seeking a sense of belonging. Season 20 will amplify those themes in ways we've never seen before. Anticipate emotional sit-downs, as raw truths pour out. Anticipate times of regret, as the past and present intersect. And anticipate hope, because even when things are broken, there is always the hope of healing. The Browns' narrative has never been flawless, but it has always been authentic. And that's why viewers can't help but tune in. Why does season 20 feel different? Because it's no longer about the defense of a lifestyle. It's about survival. Kody has to accept the fact that the dream he pursued for so many years has fallen apart. The wives have to accept the reality of what they are without him. And the children have to determine what type of legacy they wish to leave behind. This season is not a typical repeat of family drama. This is history in the making. This is the unraveling of one of reality television's most fascinating families, and the remaking of its members into something new. So, what's next for the Brown family? Will we witness reconciliation between Kody and his ex-wives? Will Robyn stick with him? Or will even she have a breaking point? And maybe the question of all questions, will a family that once lived together under one roof ever be able to agree on anything again? Or is this really the end of the sister wives' dream? Season 20 does not only offer answers. It offers to reveal to us what happens when a family that we thought was irrevocable at last gives in and tells the truth, that sometimes love changes, and families change in ways we can't possibly imagine. The Browns are coming back to our television sets, but they're no longer the same family we originally met. They are wiser, battered, and more self-sufficient. And that makes season 20 maybe the most critical one so far. For fans who have laughed, cried, and grown alongside them for over a decade, this season is more than entertainment. It's closure. Or maybe, it's just the beginning of a brand new chapter no one saw coming. So buckle up, because the Browns are back, and season 20 is about to remind us all why Sister Wives remains one of the most powerful, unforgettable stories in reality television history. What do you do when a family that appeared to be impenetrable, a family united by faith, love, and a vision greater than they ever could be, begins to completely disintegrate before the whole world? What do you do when the story we believed was finished, when tears had been cried, doors shut, and hearts shattered, suddenly picks up again? That's where we stand now. After all those years of drama, heartbreak, and upheaval, TLC has done the impossible. They've announced Sister Wives Season 20. And this isn't a comeback to television. It's a resurrection of one of reality TV's most infamous, tear-jerking, and unforgettable family narratives. Consider this: for more than 10 years, the Browns welcomed millions of viewers into their living rooms. They've allowed us to see the high points of new weddings and expanding families, and the low points of jealousy, rage, and divorce. They presented us with smiles in front of the cameras, but with real tears that couldn't be concealed. And after season 19, the rest of us thought that was it. Nearly all of them got out. Christine exited. Janelle did the same. Meri finally stood up for herself. And Kody, once the self-proclaimed leader of a large plural family, had only Robyn to himself left. Fans around the world wept, argued, and speculated had the ride finally come to its end, but just when it looked like the last chapter had been closed, TLC had news. Season 20. And the questions flooded back instantly. What's left to say? What's actually going on behind closed doors? And are the Browns returning stronger, or more divided than ever? This season is not just another installment of the saga, it's a milestone, a fresh start, and perhaps the most significant season of them all. To fully appreciate why season 20 is so significant, we must return to the start. Because the Browns were not merely another reality TV family, they were trailblazers. When Sister Wives originally aired in 2010, people had no idea what to expect. America was used to seeing large families on television, but never a family like this. The Browns weren't merely a couple with children, they were one man and four wives, sharing a home, having children, and attempting to make it look normal when most of society had only glimpsed the phenomenon from afar. And at the center of it all was Kody Brown, charming, confident, and set on showing the world that plural marriage was about love, not shame. Surrounding him were four very distinct women. Meri, the first wife whose devotion and loyalty seemed unshakable. Janelle, the practical one, who aimed for stability, money, and raising her children with quiet strength. Christine, the caregiving one, a natural mother with a warm smile and a heart of gold. And Robyn, the latest wife, whose entry in season 1 brought joy as well as tension to the family unit. It was surprising for some viewers, intriguing for others, but no matter if you liked the Browns or judged them, you couldn't turn away. The first few seasons provided a look at what plural marriage was like in contemporary America. We witnessed the family laugh at dinner tables, manage the bedlam of almost 24 kids, and battle to construct their dream house in Las Vegas. We saw them share their religion, defend their decision, and assiduously maintain that through jealousy and adversity, the love they had for each other justified everything. And it worked for a time. But behind all the smiles, there were cracks. Jealousy wasn't a welcome guest, she was a permanent resident. Financial pressures weighed heavily on the family, and gradually, one by one, the wives started to wonder if the sacrifices were really worth it. The rise of tension, as the seasons went on, the tone of the show began to shift. What started as a family defending their lifestyle became a family struggling to hold it together. Meri's marriage to Kody grew cold, with distance replacing intimacy. Janelle, though steady and strong, often admitted she felt more like a business partner than a wife. Christine confessed, again and again, that she felt invisible, unloved, and dismissed. And through it all, Robyn became more at the center of Kody's life. Fans saw it, the wives saw it, and tension mounted. The dream of togetherness, once so boldly boasted, was beginning to dissolve. The breaking point, the actual turning point, was during pandemic years. Overnight, the fissures in the Brown family widened into chasms. Kody's rigid protocols regarding COVID separated the wives. Christine, herself fed up with being unloved, had had enough. She packed her bags, bid adieu, and quit the marriage. Her exit wasn't silent. It was raw, emotional, and historic. Fans everywhere applauded her bravery. A wife had never spoken before. "I deserve better." And she left and discovered it. Janelle, inspired by Christine's courage, also started distancing herself. She craved peace, stability, and respect, things she no longer had with Kody. And Meri, she finally confessed the truth: her marriage was over. Though she clung on longer than anyone had anticipated, she couldn't pretend anymore. That left only Robyn. For years, Kody had claimed that his relationship with Robyn wasn't more intimate than with the others. But by season 19, it was undeniable. Robyn wasn't merely a wife. She was the wife. And with that, the plural marriage fell apart. Why fans thought it was over by the season's end in season 19, everyone knew the tale had played out. The wives were all gone. Kody's vision of a single together family had failed. The Browns were no longer a plural family. Social media swirled with speculations: perhaps the show would be cancelled. Perhaps TLC would spin off Christine's new life, or Janelle's independence journey. But sister wives as it had been, it must be over. Or so we had thought. The season 20 announcement. Then came the bombshell. TLC released the announcement: Sister Wives is back for season 20. Fans were in shock. What tale was left to be told? What family was even left to shoot? But that's why this season is so compelling. Because this isn't about the past tale, the fantasy of plural togetherness. That fantasy died. This is about what comes next. What comes when Christine, finally free, constructs her happily ever after? What comes when Janelle opts for independence and not madness? What happens when Meri, once broken over years of grief, finally stands strong alone? And what happens when Kody and Robyn, the two remaining ones, realize the reality that the family they struggled so much to protect no longer exists? Season 20 is not about a way of living. It's about survival. It's about recovery. And it's about learning who the Browns really are when the dream that they have lived their lives for has turned to dust. When the curtain dropped on season 19 of Sister Wives, it didn't quite feel like any ordinary finale. It felt like an era was closing. For more than a decade, we had followed the Brown family as they struggled to create a life based on plural marriage, faith, and harmony. But by the last episodes, what had begun as a sprawling home full of 4 wives and almost 24 children had fallen apart into something barely recognizable. The dream was shattered. The family was broken. And each of the women, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, had set out on a new path that no longer featured Kody. Let's take a step back and relive exactly how we got here. Christine's bold departure. The first significant breakdown in the foundation was from Christine. For years, she had complained about her position in the family. She did enjoy being a mother and loved to mother her children, but she would frequently say that her marriage to Kody was highly unsatisfying. She did not feel like one of the family, instead referring to herself as the basement wife, out of sight, out of sound, and out of affection. Year after year, Christine smiled, but the fans could tell that she was hurting behind her smile. She desired romance. She desired partnership. She desired to feel as if she existed. And regardless of how many times she asked for Kody's attention, it never seemed to arrive. The breaking point occurred during the pandemic. Kody's stern household rules, his favoritism of Robyn, and his failure to cultivate his other marriages finally got to Christine. In one of the most emotional scenes in the history of the show, Christine gathered her belongings, informed Kody it was the end, and left plural marriage behind. Her exit was not merely a personal choice, it was a revolution. Fans everywhere interpreted her decision as a moment of empowerment. She wasn't quitting Kody, she was taking back her life, and Christine prospered. For the first time in years, viewers witnessed her as happy. She laughed more. She smiled more. She started a new relationship, fell in love again, and eventually remarried. Her makeover personified hope, evidence that after years of suffering, there could be happiness. Janelle's quiet strength. Janelle's departure seemed different, but was of equal significance. Janelle was practical from the very start. Meri and Christine wore their hearts on sleeves, but Janelle was the steady anchor. She supported the family economically, toiled hard to provide for her kids, and made a point to shun emotional confrontations. But the pandemic proved to test her patience too. Janelle fought with Kody about his strict household policies, particularly when they threatened her relationship with her adult kids. Fans watched as she dug in her heels, not willing to trade her kids' happiness for Kody's authority. By season 19, Janelle's allegiance had changed. She was no longer picking Kody. She was picking herself, her tranquility, and her kids. During one unforgettable fight, Janelle informed Kody she was tired of compromising on his schedule. That moment did away with their spiritual marriage. Unlike Christine, Janelle didn't storm out dramatically. Instead, she quietly separated her life from Kody's. She focused on her independence, her goals, and her family. Her strength came not from fiery words, but from silent determination. And fans admired her deeply for it. Meri's long goodbye. If Christine's departure was bold, and Janelle's was steady, Meri's was heartbreaking. As Kody's first wife, Meri had been there from the very beginning. She had invested decades of her life into their relationship, enduring jealousy, heartbreak, and loneliness. Her marriage to Kody had been on shaky ground for years. They existed as stranger roommates, rather than husband and wife. The notoriety-inducing catfishing scandal years before had already delivered a crushing blow, and Kody himself confessed, on tape, that he no longer felt married to Meri. Despite that, Meri held on to hope. For season upon season, she maintained she was ready to stay, to fight, to try. But in season 19, even she could no longer pretend otherwise. She finally left. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't easy, but it was strong. Fans witnessed her take back control of her self-respect, after waiting all those years for love that would never come back. Her story touched a chord in anyone who ever waited too long, only to know that releasing is the only way to go. Kody and Robyn, the last couple standing. That left Kody and Robyn, the last couple standing. But their relationship was not one of victory. It was one of loneliness. Robyn, who had once been the newest and most scandalous wife, was now the sole survivor. And although she professed to never have desired to be in a monogamous marriage, the truth was inescapable. Kody's ideal of plural wholesomeness had failed, and all he had remaining was her. Kody himself was a shadow of the man that viewers encountered in season 1. No longer confident and energetic, he now appeared angry, bitter, and defeated. His adult children were at odds with him. His formerly large family had dwindled down to nearly nothing, and instead of being a proud patriarch of a plural family, he was a man trying to come to terms with loss, regret, and failure. The family's children, silent witnesses in all of this. The children sat by and watched. They had grown up for years in the mess of their parents' decisions. Some drew nearer to Kody. Others drifted farther away. The pandemic specifically opened up divisions, as Kody's autocratic rules created tension between him and his older children. In season 19, the voices of the children grew louder. Fans heard their anger, their frustration, and their heartbreak. Some openly wondered if their father's decisions had ruined the family. Others turned to their mothers for strength and stability. As the wives started their new beginnings, the children took center stage. And in season 20, their voices will be impossible to disregard. The fans' reaction, shock, heartbreak, and hope. Fans, of course, had strong reactions. Social media exploded after each new development. Christine's departure was celebrated as a victory for independence. Janelle's strength was admired. Meri's goodbye sparked both sympathy and frustration. Kody and Robyn, meanwhile, became lightning rods for criticism. Many viewers accused Kody of favoritism, selfishness, and emotional neglect. Others felt Robyn had benefited from the collapse of the family, even if she insisted otherwise. By season 19's end, all fans assumed that the show had finally ended. The plural family was gone. The wives were free. Kody's dream was finished. Surely this was the end of Sister Wives. But was it really the end? And yet, here we are. With season 20 officially underway, it's apparent the story isn't over yet. What we saw in season 19 wasn't the endgame, it was the turning point. The Browns aren't the same family we came to know in 2010. They're fractured, they're battle-hardened, and they'll never be the same again. But their journey's not done, because now the question is, what's next? Season 20 teases that question with an answer. And from where we left off, broken marriages, damaged children, and a family at rock bottom, there's no telling what kind of tears are about to be shed. Season 20 of Sister Wives isn't simply another installment of the Browns saga, it's the installment that might cement the entire legacy of the series. After over a decade on television, infinite heartbreaks, and Kody's pluralist dream crashing down around him, fans were sure it was over. But with TLC announcing the return officially, the question isn't why the Browns are returning. The question is, what will they finally let us see this time? Because this season is going to be deeper than it's ever been before. It's not about donning smiles for the cameras, or attempting to convince the world that plural marriage is functioning. That facade has been lost. Season 20 promises brutal reality, emotional authenticity, and the sort of drama that occurs when individuals cease pretending and finally begin living their truth. Let's break down just what we can anticipate. Story by story. Kody and Robyn, the last couple standing. Maybe the most critical narrative revolves around Kody and Robyn. For years, Robyn was accused, by fans and by the other wives, of being the favorite. Kody's growing infatuation with her was apparent, and it bred resentment that pushed the family's demise. But wait, there's a catch. Being the last remaining couple isn't always a win. And really, it could be the toughest challenge of all. The audience will witness how life is for Kody and Robyn, now that the plural marriage dream has dissolved. Without the buffer of other women, without the sprawling household, they are obliged to confront each other as a monogamous couple. And that reality isn't as romanticized as it seems. Will Robyn own up to the fact she never wanted this to happen? She's already expressed that she came into the family because she desired the plural dynamic, the sisterhood, the overall picture. Now that it's lost, does she hate herself for her part in what happened? Will Kody ever look back on his decisions? For years he blamed others, complained about his wives, and held on to control. Season 20 could be the season that shows us if he can ever take responsibility, or if his resentment will help drive an even greater wedge between him and his children. Is their marriage strong enough to last? Fans are convinced that without the drama of multiple wives, Kody and Robyn's relationship will finally be revealed for what it really is. Season 20 has the answers in store. It's not just the survival story. It's the survival story of what happens when the final piece of a shattered dream needs to survive on its own. Christine, the glow of freedom on the opposite side of the spectrum, is season 20, which holds a lot of Christine. One of the most empowering moments in the history of the show was her leaving Kody, and her life as it stands is now a beacon of hope for fans all over. Christine is now remarried, living in a laughing, independent, and true love-filled home. Viewers can look forward to season 20 delving into how she keeps that joy balanced with the co-parenting challenges and relationships with the Brown kids. Her narrative is no longer heartbreak, it's happiness. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's trouble-free. How does Christine deal with watching her children interact with Kody after all that transpired? Will all of her children accept her new marriage, or will some fight the changes? And perhaps the ultimate question, will Christine and the other wives ever really make peace even as friends? Christine's radiance is undeniable, and Season 20 will put a spotlight on what freedom feels like after decades of sacrifice. Janelle, independent and unshaken, where Christine's is a story of happiness, Janelle's is one of courage. For years, she was the rock of the family, the one who managed the nitty-gritty aspects of life. But when Kody's pandemic rules estranged her children, Janelle made a decision: her children were first. Season 20 will emphasize her independence. From controlling her own finances to creating her dream life, Janelle is showing the world that she doesn't require Kody to live a happy life. But her journey isn't without its challenges. Is she really able to sever ties with Kody, or will co-parenting continue to draw her back into drama? Will she meet new love, or is she happy to concentrate on her children and her career? And above all, what will she teach her children about love, marriage, and self-esteem? Janelle's journey might not be as flashy as Christine's, but it has something stronger: strength. And Season 20 promises to tell us exactly how she forges a life on her own terms. Meri, a new identity. Meri's journey has always been one of heartbreak. As the first wife, she once believed she held a special place in Kody's heart. But over time, her role diminished until she was little more than a shadow in the family. Season 20 teases finally allowing Meri the opportunity to rewrite her story. Without Kody's rejection, she is learning to discover who she is beyond plural marriage. For viewers, it's a long-awaited reveal. Will we witness a softer, freer Meri, living openly without apology? Will she address Kody directly about years of emotional abandonment? Or will her story be one of quiet rebuilding, showing us the power of starting over even later in life? For anyone who has ever held on too long, Meri's story will resonate deeply, and Season 20 could finally deliver the closure she and the audience deserve. The children, their time to speak. And maybe most forcefully of all, the promise of Season 20 resides with the children. They were the backdrop for years, the ones dashing around the backyard, eating dinner with the family, or showing up in group interviews. But now that they're all grown up, their voices have grown louder, sharper, and impossible to overlook. This year, we can expect to hear more from the adult children regarding how the decisions of their parents impacted them, and their viewpoints might redefine the way viewers perceive the whole narrative. Some kids have kept Kody at arm's length, holding him responsible for the demise of the family. Others stay close to their mothers, supporting them as they create new lives. And some might surprise us with forgiveness, compassion, or even reconciliation. The voices of the children will infuse raw truth into Season 20. They've survived the mayhem, and now as adults they mustered up the courage to speak their truth. The bigger picture, what Season 20 really means. So what does it all amount to? Season 20 is setting up more than mere drama. It's setting up reflection. It's setting up change. It's setting up the type of storytelling that brings us back to why Sister Wives has endured for so long. This is not about fighting for plural marriage anymore. That war is lost. This is about identity, about transformation, about what you do when the dream you've based your life on turns out to be a nightmare, and you have to begin anew. For Kody and Robyn, it's survival. For Christine, it's happiness. For Janelle, it's resilience. For Meri, it's transformation. And for the kids, it's honesty. Each one is a part of the puzzle. Collectively, they guarantee a season unlike any other. The fans' anticipation. And then there are the fans. Social media went wild when TLC revealed Season 20. Some were surprised. Others were ecstatic. Many questioned what more was to be said. But the fact is that the fans aren't watching for drama. Fans are watching because they've invested years of their lives with this family. We've grown alongside the Browns. We've celebrated their highs and mourned their lows, and Season 20 promises to deliver the answers we've been waiting for. Closing words. A season of truth. So what does Season 20 really promise? It promises to strip away the illusions, to show us the Browns as they are, not as they wanted to be seen. It promises heartbreak, healing, and hope. It promises truth. And that's why, despite 19 seasons, people still care. Because the Browns saga is more than plural marriage. It's love, loss, grit, and the human quest for belonging. Season 20 is approaching, and it will be the most memorable chapter to date. The reality of sister wives is this. It was never all about plural marriage. It was never merely about the practicalities of splitting a husband, or the enormous family tree, or the laws of the religion that govern their decisions. At its core, this show has always been about feelings. About love and jealousy. About hope and sorrow. About the fight to belong. And the terror of being left behind. And as season 20 gets underway, viewers aren't watching to find out who sleeps with whom, or what house they reside in. They're watching because of the feelings. The ones that shatter us, the ones that mend us, and the ones that make us human. This, folks, is the emotional heart of Sister Wives. The pain of betrayal. For most of its viewers, the Browns' greatest hurt has always been betrayal. Not betrayal as in hidden affairs and broken vows, but the insidious, slow wearing away of faith. Consider Christine, who devoted years to being the happy wife, the supportive spouse, the glue that kept everything intact. But repeatedly she experienced Kody's rejection. She heard the criticisms, witnessed the coldness, and endured the certainty of knowing that her heart was never completely secure in his care. When she finally left, it wasn't a spontaneous act of defiance. It was the subtle peak of decades of emotional abandonment. Or Janelle, who remained loyal to Kody during financial struggles, raising kids and innumerable sacrifices, only to be let down when she had the audacity to prioritize her children's needs. Betrayal for her wasn't over one fight. It was over understanding loyalty had not been reciprocal. And Meri. Maybe her betrayal hurts the most. Having been the first wife of Kody, she felt she had something no one could ever rip from her. And then she was witness to him, not just drift away but confess to the world that he didn't even desire to keep a marriage going with her. Picture the devastation of listening to the man you loved for decades announce to the world he doesn't want you anymore. Season 20 guarantees to venture into this pain in more explicit terms than ever. And betrayal, as primal as it is a universal wound. Something that every viewer can sense in his or her own bones. The ache of loneliness is also an emotion that has plagued the Browns throughout. Plural marriage was intended to end loneliness. Wives were intended to have companionship with one another. Children were intended to have a childhood surrounded by love, and a husband was intended to stretch his heart out over the family. However, rather than becoming the disease it was intended to heal, loneliness became the unwanted guest at every dinner table. Christine had admitted to crying herself to bed, longing for attention from Kody. Janelle had said she felt like she was a single mother, caring for her children by herself while Kody was off doing something else. And Meri, arguably the saddest of all, remained in her vacant house, anticipating visits that only occurred infrequently. Even Robyn, the one who seemed to be Kody's go-to, has confessed to a feeling of loneliness. For when a family disintegrates, no one really avoids the ache of loneliness. Season 20 will uncover how each of the wives faces that hollowness now that the family is divided. Do they mend by forming new bonds? Do they embrace solitude? Or do they continue to suffer from the quiet of being alone? The strength of motherhood. If loneliness and betrayal are the wounds of this narrative, motherhood is the balm. In all the shouting matches, the broken hearts, and the losses, something has remained constant. These women's love for their children. Christine discovered her strength to leave on behalf of her children, not for herself, but so that they could observe what a healthy love is. Janelle prioritized her children over Kody's rules, and let it be known that no husband, no religion, could ever precede them. Even Meri, whose only child Leon, walked away from the faith and from the family, has been a rock of support and acceptance, demonstrating that love does not evaporate, even when life takes an unexpected turn. Motherhood is the show's emotional fulcrum. It's what emboldens the women to leave, inspires them to rebuild, and gives them hope for the future. Season 20 will undoubtedly cause us to remember this fact. Despite how brittle marriages can be, a mother's love never fails. The burn of resentment, of course. No emotional center is whole without resentment. It has been simmering beneath the surface for decades, driving decisions and expanding rifts. The wives resented Robyn's favored status. The kids resented the constant relocations, the uncertainty and the broken promises. Even Kody resented his wives for not obeying his rules, pinning the blame for the family's failure on them rather than upon himself. Resentment is poisonous, yet at the same time, it's very human. And season 20 threatens to expose it in a big way. There might be some sparring, not only between Kody and his wives, but also between the children. Parents fight after all, and it's the children who bear the brunt. Will that anger be spoken at last? Or will it just see the beneath the surface, influencing the Browns' future in unpredictable ways? The potential for healing the emotional heart of sister wives isn't solely pain, it's also healing. Because if there's one reason that viewers keep coming back after 19 seasons, it's this: we want to see these individuals heal. Christine has already demonstrated to us that healing is an achievable reality. Her smile is brighter, her energy lighter, her spirit freer. She is testament to the fact that you can reform a life out of heartbreak. Janelle too brings hope. She might not possess Christine's fiery disposition, but her quiet strength, her calm resilience, are testimonies in themselves. Healing for her is not about romance. It's about independence, strength, and self-respect. Even Meri, so long in cycles of hurt, is starting to heal. Her entrepreneurial pursuits, her renewed self-assurance, her commitment to independence, they're all signs of a new beginning that fans can't wait to see happen. And maybe even Kody and Robyn might heal, not in the manner fans hope, but in accepting the reality they have built. Healing doesn't always involve coming back together. It can involve acceptance. Season 20 is thus more than a television program. It is a mirror, examining our own quest for forgiveness, to release and to start anew. Why emotions matter most. In the end, the emotional core of Sister Wives is why the show has lasted so long. Logistics may change, houses, finances, locations, but emotions remain eternal. Betrayal, loneliness, motherhood, resentment, healing. These are the pillars of the Browns' story, and these are the pillars that connect their lives to ours. Because even if we've never lived plural marriage, we've all felt heartbreak, we've all known loneliness, we've all struggled to forgive, to rebuild, to move forward. That is the key to Sister Wives. It's not about them, it's about us. Closing reflections. The emotional season ahead. As we enter season 20, recall this: the greatest storylines won't be tallied in who relocates where, or what comes out of whose mouth. They'll be tallied in tears, cried, in hearts repaired, and in bravery discovered. Christine's laughter, Janelle's strength, Meri's quiet resilience, Robyn's reckoning, Kody's pride, the children's voices. These are the emotions that will define this season. Because in the end, Sister Wives isn't a story about marriage. It's a story about being human. And there's nothing more powerful than that. When the cameras originally started rolling on Sister Wives in 2010, no one, not even the Browns themselves, had any idea what it would evolve into. It looked like just another reality show at first. A curious glimpse into a large family, with an unconventional lifestyle. But over the course of the years, the show developed into something much more. It became a reflection, a lesson, and in a lot of ways, a cultural phenomenon. And now, with season 20 looming, one question hangs in the balance. What is Sister Wives' legacy, really? This is more than just a polygamy show. It's a tale that has touched lives, shifted perceptions, and left lessons that will endure beyond any season finale. Legacy #1, breaking the silence on polygamy. Prior to Sister Wives, polygamy was a forbidden topic in mainstream America. They hushed about it, judged it, or sensationalized it. But hardly anyone knew what it looked like within an actual family. The Browns broke that by opening their doors and allowing cameras to document their everyday lives. They compelled viewers to view polygamists as anything other than headlines. But as people, we saw children dashing through the home, mothers cooking supper, fights over household chores, laughter around the table. We saw the mundane infused with the extraordinary, and by doing that, the Browns removed some of the mystery and shame of plural marriage. Love them or despise them. The Browns made something definite. Polygamy isn't a theoretical concept. It's practiced by real humans with actual feelings. That bravery to be noticed, even if it meant dealing with backlash, is a legacy that can't be taken away. Legacy #2. Redefining family. And the Browns didn't merely speak about polygamy, they redefined what family might be. At first glance, Their family seemed unconventional: one man, 4 wives, and 18 children. But as viewers watched, many realized the themes weren't so different from their own lives. Think about it: Christine's longing for affection, that's something many women in monogamous marriages feel. Janelle's struggle to balance independence with loyalty, that's universal. Meri's heartbreak over distance in her marriage, countless people have lived that too. And when the children complained about changing too many times, or missing stability, it resonated with anyone who was raised in a household kissed with instability. That is, the Browns taught us that family isn't something you fit into. It's about the connections we forge, the conflicts we weather, and the love we struggle to keep. Their tale reminded the world that families are all shapes, and every shape has lessons to teach. Legacy #3. Shining light on women's strength. If there's a thread throughout the years, it's the resilience of the women on this show. Christine, Janelle, and Meri, each individually, demonstrated to millions of people what it means to take back your power after decades of sacrifice. Christine taught us to have the strength to leave a relationship that no longer serves you. She reminded women everywhere that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's surviving. Janelle exemplified resilience. Her quiet courage demonstrated that empowerment doesn't always come thunderously or dramatically. It can be steady, patient, and rooted in dignity. And Meri, her path was difficult, yes, but it was courageous. For years she appeared trapped, bound by her isolation and rejection. But gradually, painfully, she began to emerge. She established businesses, constructed her own confidence, and established that life can begin anew at any time. Even Robyn, frequently depicted as the outsider or favorite, has her own lessons. She demonstrated the price of being put at the nexus of conflict, and the weight of having expectations no one can live up to. All 4 of these women forged one of Sister Wives' greatest legacies: the lesson that women, regardless of their situations, are so strong they can weather incredible challenges. Legacy #4. Teaching hard truths about love. Another legacy is the raw candor of the show regarding love. Reality TV spoon-fed viewers fairy tales for years, picture-perfect weddings, ideal romances, happy endings. Sister Wives turned that model on its head. It presented love in all its tangled, naughty, tear-jerking reality. We witnessed love that withered. We witnessed love that was split. We witnessed love that was betrayed. And we witnessed what happens when love isn't enough to keep people together. That honesty resonated. It reminded viewers that love is not always assured. That occasionally, despite your best efforts, relationships fail. And that's not failure. It's life. In some sense, Sister Wives has been one big love story, not the kind that culminates in happily ever after, but the kind that shows us reality. Love is lovely, delicate, and never flawless. Legacy #5. The power of starting over. Maybe the most lasting legacy is this: it's never too late to start again. We have seen fans watch as 3 of Kody's 4 wives departed, each of them starting a new life on her own terms. Christine discovered fulfillment with a new man, radiating freedom and happiness. Janelle chose independence, and picked her children and herself over the faltering marriage. Even Meri, whose journey has taken longer, is showing us that healing is possible. This legacy, the power to rebuild, is what speaks most to audiences. Because all of us at some point are forced to begin again. After divorce. After loss. After disappointment. Sister Wives is living proof that beginning again hurts, sure, but it's also strong. The cultural impact. Aside from personal anecdotes, Sister Wives has had a cultural impact. It initiated discussions in living rooms, offices, and even classrooms regarding marriage, gender roles, and religion. It proved assumptions wrong. It caused individuals to think. It even impacted legal discourse. The Browns' lawsuit challenging Utah's anti-polygamy statutes brought the discussion of religious freedom and personal autonomy into national headlines. And socially, the show allowed viewers an opportunity to pose tough questions. What does commitment really mean? How much should one sacrifice for love? And what happens when traditions no longer fit the people living them? By raising those questions, The Browns gave the world more than entertainment. They gave us reflection. The emotional legacy. Finally, the emotional legacy may be the most powerful of all. For audience members, Sister Wives has been more than just a television show. It's been a friend who has gone through their own challenges with them. Fans have written fan mail, created online forums, and bonded with each other from the feelings reflected on camera. Individuals who've experienced rejection identified with Meri. Individuals who've needed to leave unhealthy relationships gained strength from Christine. Parents who prioritize children nodded along with Janelle. And those who had been misrepresented by the outside found solace in the Browns' presence. The emotional legacy is this. Sister Wives reminded folks of hope, not the kind from fairy tales, but the kind that says, even when everything breaks, you can move forward. Closing reflections. The Browns' real legacy. So as season 20 opens, and the world will wonder what's ahead for the Browns, we already know the answer. The legacy of Sister Wives is not in the drama, it's not in the ratings, it's not even in whether they remain together or break up. The real legacy is in the lessons they leave behind. The bravery to be seen, the strength of women, the authenticity about love, the ability to begin anew, the reminder that family looks many different ways. For more than a decade, the Browns welcomed us into their lives. And now that the story is moving into new chapters, their legacy continues in the millions of individuals who have laughed, wept, and healed right along with them. Because ultimately, Sister Wives was never only about them. It was about us. All of us discovering that even in the muddiest corners of life, there's always the opportunity to grow, to heal, and to start anew.